Welcome to Bribie Island. First came to Bribie Island back in 1979, I think it was, to visit my grandparents who'd retired and moved up here. And it was actually like walking into the valley of those waiting to die. This time I'm up here for work, doing a presentation at an agricultural education conference, and then I'm going to catch up with my mate Dave, who, if you've been watching the previous channels, owns that little shack in Dover, and he's definitely not a blow-in. Anyway, let's check out the island and see what it's like. So while I'm here on Bribie, I'm staying at the Sylvan Beach Resort, which is on Sylvan Beach Esplanade, directly across the road from Sylvan Beach, so very aptly named. I was booked to stay 3 nights at this place, and then I was needed to stay 1 night down in Brisbane tomorrow night. So, but unfortunately it was no changes, no cancellation without paying. So the room's going to be empty on Friday night while I drive back down to Brisbane and spend a night in a different hotel. My grandparents, Len and Kit, who we called Grampy and Nana, were the closest grandparents that I actually had when I was a kid, closest relatives as well. It was possibly because they were Mum's parents, and Dad was a little bit distant, and he was also a little bit distant from his parents, both emotionally but also physically, because they lived about 100 k's drive away up what was then a very twisty and windy Tasman highway to the east coast. So we would always call in to Nana and Grampy's place in Sandy Bay, where Mum would knock on the door and go hoo-hoo and let ourselves in. And so when Grampy retired, they decided that they would actually move here to Queensland, to Bribie Island. And I was devastated because I didn't think I'd ever get to see them again. Well, I did get to see them again. In 1979, we came on a family holiday up here to Bribie Island, and it was certainly a very different place back then. When we came to Bribie in 1979, we actually flew to Sydney and then caught the train to Brisbane. Air travel was pretty expensive then, so the train was pretty horrendous, and finally we managed to get off the train here at Caboolture, though the guy who announced it pronounced it Caboolture. Now, interestingly, my sister was constantly getting into trouble from my mother for saying picture instead of picture. So Mum would always say, it's picture. So when we came across this guy with his Caboolture, my sister said Caboolture, and then proceeded to sing a song. How much wood could a Caboolture chuck if a Caboolture could chuck wood? Not much. So while Bribie has significantly changed, the feel of this community and the look of it hasn't significantly changed. I mean, this house is exactly the same as it was, although there was a wire fence here and a small tree where I discovered in my first visit an amazing green tree frog. I was just amazed. It was like having Kermit the Frog but alive. So when I first came here to Bribie back in 1979, this was I think pretty much the only sort of shopping region, and it was 2 beautiful shops were here. One was an ice cream shop that had the most exotic flavours of ice cream. I remember getting pretty much every day, if I could, a double cone with bubblegum and rock melon ice cream. And there was also a shop selling health foods or Asian foods, and for the very first time I tried Chinese salty plums, something that I've enjoyed for the 40 years since and I still really like them, although I've also recently discovered that if you soak them in tequila, it makes an absolutely brilliantly flavoured drink. So back in 1979, this was pretty much it in terms of the shopping centres on Bribie Island, the Bongaree Arcade, and it's so long ago that the word bong hadn't even entered the vocabulary, so it wasn't quite as amusing as it must be to certain puerile minds like mine now. Bongaree. The supermarket's a little bit more upmarket these days, but still the old IGA. Pretty sure it was an IGA then, although could be mistaken. And sadly, that trip in 1979 was the last time I would see Grampy, because they never came back to visit Tasmania and we never came back to visit Queensland. It was a different time. It was really expensive to travel by air during those days. And so unfortunately, towards the late 1990s, early 2000s, Grampy passed away. And so I did see Nana again because we came up for his funeral. And sadly, that was the last time I saw her, because in 2005, she too passed away. And that was the last time I visited Bribie Island. Again, sadly, to organise my Nana's funeral. When I first came to Bribie in 1979, that first visit to my grandparents, I'd walk by myself along this beach and I'd never see anyone probably under the age of 50. Well, it's certainly changed today. There's young people playing on the beach, young people riding bikes, young people hanging out. I'm not just talking about kids here on holiday, I'm talking actually about people in their late teens, early 20s, even 30s. So looks like the community of Bribie has seriously and significantly changed in the, how many years is that? Oh, too many, 44 years since I came here for the first time. I guess the world has changed a lot in that time, hasn't it? So this is what we used to call the Ocean Beach. It's in a suburb of Bribie called Wurrum. So this area, this suburb is actually called Wurrum, and I can remember it in both the times I was here before. It was just a little seaside community of shacks. Now look at it. There still are some little remnant shacks here, but it certainly has changed a lot. I mean, we've got a classic fibro shack behind us, and then over here, got these ritzy houses. So yeah, little community seaside spirit, certainly gone, I guess. I can remember when this beach was as popular as the beaches of the far south of Tasmania, in that there was nobody on them. But sadly, not now. It's another Queensland beach with too many people on it. Time for me to find somewhere else. So along this road is the Bribie Island Research Centre. It's a joint venture between the CSIRO and the Queensland Department of Agriculture and Fisheries. It's their main aquaculture research centre. A little bit ironic in that all the aquaculture really is at least a 1.5 hour flight away. A bit like Tassie putting IMAS in Canberra, but I digress. Anyway, I recently applied for a job with DAF in the aquaculture expansion sector. Didn't get an interview. Feedback was I didn't have sufficient background or awareness of aquaculture. 20 plus years is not sufficient, I guess. So when the Queensland Minister for Agriculture and Fisheries, Mark Verner, says that he's going to make Queensland the centre of the world aquaculture industry, sometimes you think that some of these Queenslanders just a little bit out of touch, don't you think? So this is where I'm going for dinner tonight, my mate Dave's place. You'll remember Dave from seeing my video of locals versus blow-ins, but Dave's a good mate of mine. He lives here, but he's got a shack in Dover where I first met him, and it's another yachty, and yeah, good bloke. Now the tables have turned because up in the Whitsundays, I'm the blow-in. How things have changed. So just back from a great night catching up with good mates Dave and Katrina. It's good to catch up with people here in the present rather than just dwelling on the past, I guess. So yeah, great night, really good food, and Katrina's Thai fish cakes. Absolutely to die for. As Queenslanders and also as part-time Tasmanians, they really gave me a lot of support. My heart goes out for the support that they've given me, and yeah, what a great night. And tomorrow, back on a plane, back up to North Queensland, and let's just say an environment which is not so pleasant as it is down here in Bribie Island. Memories of the past and good times of the present. So, finishing off the trip with a double shot espresso in the Virgin Lounge. It's really good coffee here. So when I booked this trip, business class was only about $20 more expensive than an economy ticket. So it was a no-brainer really. Domestic business class in Australia, nothing flash. Why did the bush turkey cross the road? Get away from the bin chicken. Report all hooning. Police link 131 444. Could do with one of those signs at Ely Beach, Cannonvale. Then again, they'd have to man that call number 24 hours a day. So maybe that's why we don't have one of those signs.